For a century, the standard model of history assumed early humans had to master farming first. This provided a stable food surplus, allowing a division of labor. Only after these foundations were in place could humanity develop organized religion and build monuments. Landmarks like the Great Pyramid fit this model perfectly, appearing thousands of years after the first settled villages emerged. Archaeologists treated this order, stomach first, spirit second, as the foundational logic of our species' development. In 1994, archaeologist Klaus Schmidt began excavating a site in Turkey that contradicted that logic. Radiocarbon dating placed the site at 9600 BCE. To put that in perspective, this ridge was already an ancient ruin 6,000 years before the first stone was raised at Stonehenge. It consists of massive circular enclosures, each dominated by T-shaped limestone pillars standing over 5 meters tall. The people who raised these stones lived before the invention of the wheel, before the first pottery was fired, and before using metal tools. The existence of such a massive structure suggests that the milestones of human progress may have been recorded in the wrong order. Individual pillars weigh up to 20 tons. They were carved from limestone bedrock and moved to the summit by hand. The shafts are decorated with low-relief carvings of predators, foxes, scorpions, and boars. These are not the animals these people hunted for food, but symbols of something more dangerous. Moving and carving these stones required the coordinated, specialized labor of hundreds of people working toward a single goal. This creates a logistical problem. How did a nomadic population with no permanent food storage feed a massive workforce for the duration of a construction project? The engineering alone proves that hunter-gatherer societies possessed the ability to organize large-scale projects long before they built their first permanent towns. Despite decades of excavation, archaeologists have found no domestic houses at Göbekli Tepe. There are no hearths for daily cooking and no household trash pits. Instead, the soil is filled with the remains of thousands of wild animals, specifically gazelle and wild cattle. These bone deposits suggest the site served as a venue for massive, periodic feasts that would have drawn people from across the region. This suggests a ritual center where scattered bands converged for shared ceremonies before returning to their mobile lives. The evidence indicates that the impulse to gather around a shared belief system existed before the drive to settle in permanent homes. On a clear day, the Katakata mountain range is visible from the site's highest point. This mountain is home to the wild ancestor of modern einkorn wheat. Genetic studies confirm that this specific wild grain was the source of the world's first domesticated crops. The logistics of feeding hundreds of people at a single hilltop created a caloric demand that hunting alone could not meet. To sustain these gatherings, humans harvested wild grain more intensively, leading to the first deliberate planting and the birth of farming. This suggests a different relationship between ritual and survival. The temple created the demand, and agriculture emerged as the necessary solution to feed the faithful. Göbekli Tepe indicates that the sequence of human development was more complex than the traditional model suggests. The drive to create a symbolic world and to build on a monumental scale was already present in the Stone Age. The pillars themselves feature anthropomorphic details, carved arms and hands that suggest they were intended to represent ancestors or spirits. This shared symbolic language acted as the catalyst, pulling people together into organized social structures. The archaeological record now shows that the capacity for shared ritual provided the framework upon which civilization was later constructed. The timeline of this site suggests that organized ritual did not emerge as a byproduct of settled life. Instead, humans were willing to devote massive amounts of labor and coordination to a sacred location while they were still mobile hunters. These structures were shaped using nothing more than primitive flint tools and the physical strength of the community. What we see today is only the beginning. Archaeologists estimate 90% of the site remains unexcavated, with hundreds more pillars still buried. Göbekli Tepe stands as our earliest proof that shared meaning could organize the human world long before the first fields were sown.